Yes. Justin Langer tests the hammy out, keeps it to 1. Prince is on 87, 3 for 270.
These thirst crushing moments brought to you by Solo the Sub. No added sugar.
Through in, that's gone, yes. Big shout, that's close. Got in, yes.
Probably at some stage. 270. Of course, a draw in this Sydney Test is no good to the South Africans, so they can't afford to let this game drift at all. 270, not a great total just yet. They need to get that to 400, and that might help them in not having to face Warne and McGill towards the end of the match. Hopefully they're not downplaying the impact Warne and McGill can have in a third innings of a Test match as well. But they've got a spread field here, the Australians. Prince helps himself to a single. This is a weird field they've got set. Just 2 slips and a real big ring outs on the offside for some reason. What could it be?
No, it's not like Australia are out of the game and needing to defend. A wicket now. Still a little bit of shine on the ball. And then, as I mentioned, with Warne and McGill in the lineup, you're likely to run through the bottom half of the order fairly quickly. Even though Boucher and Pollock are good players, ball spinning a bit, you'd have to fancy your chances. I mean, they get a wicket quickly here. You could not be over ambitious in thinking we could get South Africa back in the pavilion for 350. That would be a good result for Australia.
And the match. The interesting position here is a man just behind square leg, just behind the umpire, about halfway to the boundary. What's on? It's definitely the short one. He's peppering Callis. He wants nothing to do with it. They might have some pressure at him somewhere else around the corner and try to induce the pull shot. That's the man that, I guess, expecting a miss hit, a ballooned, spliced pull shot or something, but Callis is just getting under it. Maybe he'd be better off in there for the fend, get it right at the body, hoping for the fend, in the hope that Callis might then pull out the pull shot. But it's cat and mouse stuff at the moment, and for Prince, at the last ball of the first ball of this over, it looked like they were giving him a single to get at Callis. This might be Brett Lee's last over. He wants Callis. He's had him before. He's after him again.
Well, he troubled him at the MCG. It was a beautiful combination. Firstly, the bouncer that he was way late on crunched into the helmet, and he almost fell on the stumps, and followed it up with a beauty, the Yorker. And then today he's pinned him with the bouncer, this time in the arm. So he has troubled Callis with the short pitch delivery and some very good bowling.
So 4 men on the right of the pitch. It's going to be at the body. There it is again. He's nearly ripped his head off. Testing every sinew of Callis. He's cool as he can be. The heart will be racing, though.
Not sure that you can just keep avoiding this challenge that Brett Lee is tossing out to him. That was a very good one. That's the best bouncer that he's bowled. I think this is the difference between Jacques Kallis and the other leading players around the world. I'm thinking Lara, Tendulkar, Ricky Ponting. I don't think they would just avoid this challenge totally. I think they would take up the challenge.
Full, and he's in defence this time. The crowd are on their feet. I'm not so sure, Chappelle. I think for the sake of 1 over, let Brett Lee puff himself out. It might only be this one last-ditch effort. His pace is right up there, high 140s. He's trying all the different lengths, but a lot of them around halfway in the pitch. Get through this over, and it might look a lot easier.
Yeah, but I think that's the difference with Kallis, and that's why he's not a match-winning batsman. because he won't take on these challenges that the leading batsman in the side has got to do from time to time.
A no ball too. He gets another one at him. It's been 2 singles from 50 balls to back up your comment, Chappelli. And there's no question that Lara or Tendulkar, Ricky Ponting, all the best batsmen wouldn't go through that. They'd be swinging at some stage. But Callis very patient, that's for sure, under a storm from Brett Lee at the moment.
I get the feeling that match considerations take second priority with Jacques Kallis. And as a batsman, and particularly as a leading batsman in the team, the main consideration has got to be the match and the winning of.
A dot to finish, a no ball and a single. 3 for 272.
These thirst crushing moments brought to you by Solo the Sub. No added sugar.
Through it, and that's gone. Yes. Big shout. That's close. Got in. Yes. Good length. He's gone again, LBW, the captain. Good full length.
It's a nice day here in Sydney, as we've mentioned before. A little bit of physical respite anyway for the South Africans at the other end from Brett Lee, who's bowling fast, short stuff, using all parts of the Sydney pitch, which is good for batting. It's Stuart McGill. Not getting a whole lot of turn, and what turn there is nice consistent turn, able to be worked on offside, or if it's over pitch, down the ground or through the covers. So a bit of a lull for an over.
The thing about that onslaught that Brett Lee has just unleashed on Jacques Kallis is that if Kallis is constantly just going to try and bob and weave and avoid those sort of challenges, he's going to keep getting them from Brett Lee. If they're unanswered, he's going to keep unleashing all this short stuff. At some point, Kallis has got to make a decision. Right, I'm going to try and inflict a bit of psychological damage on the pace bowler. But as yet, he hasn't made that decision.
Full toss he gets from Stuart McGill. He's able to get the runs from there. That takes him to 96. Is it? Yes, it is.
Partnership now moving up towards 200. Now that's 49 deliveries not scored off Brett Lee to Kallis, and 2 singles. That's just not good enough for your leading batsman.
Oh, nice area there, Macca.
Partnership now 191. So they've done a very good job in retrieving the situation for South Africa, but South Africa do need to win the match.
McGill hasn't been able to get into his spell at all in this innings. He's been high and full at times. He's been wide and short. Got work to do in the new year. Down the ground this time. Is that 100? It's a misfield. Prince is looking hard at it. He's not coming. 3 for 278. The onslaught is finished. Change in the bowling attack. Brett Lee is out. His figures are 24 overs, 2 for 62. He's found his length. He's been able to keep it tight, and he's bowled with great fire. Now McGrath comes into the attack, and into the commentary box, Richie Benos with Mark Taylor.
Thank you, Ian. It's not often that you say that the batsman might be relieved to see Glenn McGrath come on for a bowl, but this might be one of those rare occasions. Brett Lee has bowled beautifully throughout the series, and particularly today. He's got 24 overs, 2 for 62, and I dare say he's sitting down on his haunches there saying, how have I only got 2 wickets? He certainly bowled well enough to probably get a few more. He was hoping to get one more over. I think particularly with Jacques Kallis on 97, there would be a temptation for Kallis to play a shot, a big shot, look for a boundary. And Brett Lee has softened him up and probably feels that he deserves another chance maybe to wipe him out. Kallis, as he's shown throughout this innings and throughout his career, is a very patient player. Rides the storm pretty well. Now he's within sight of 100. The 101 at the MCG was to save a test match in 97-98. He's got a chance here to better that score and also give South Africa a great chance to win this game. Morning, Richie.
Hi, Mark. Morning, everyone. Fascinating morning. Wonderful contest out there, and neither side giving an inch, but the South African pair is still there. They started and the first ball was bowled, and they're still there. Rudolph, Boucher, Pollock, and then Bueta and Nell and Longaveld to come. I heard Ian Chappell saying that if they get through this pair, then there's a chance of getting through the others. That's so. There's a little more spin in the pitch today. Whether that is going to affect the South African bowling attack is another matter. They've got a chap in who's not quite making his debut, but has been reasonably well known in South African cricket. But it's going to be a contest all the way through to the wire, I reckon. Conditions are close to perfect. Ashwell Prince has played what I regard as a blinder. We knew from looking at him in Perth and Melbourne that he had a bit about him. I've seen him on television, like the look of him. Never ever gives up, and he's done wonderfully well here.
Well, what he's done in Perth and Melbourne is something he's done throughout his career. He's occupied the crease for a long time. He's only made a couple of 20s in those test matches. In this innings, he got through the initial stage, particularly against Shane Warne, where he's had problems. He's actually fallen 8 out of 10 times he's played against Australia, or batted against Australia, to Shane Warne. He got through that period. Since then, he's now playing, well, the dominant role. As Ian Healy and Ian Chappell pointed out, he's scoring at almost a run every second ball, much quicker than Kallis. And another maiden, 3 for 278. So 97 for Callis. He's at the non-strikers end. Ashwell Prince 89, and boy, wouldn't he love to make 100 against Australia. Has 100 against the West Indies and Zimbabwe. 2 test match hundreds at the moment. This would be a prize one for him, though.
Best thing about Ashwell Prince, something we don't see from all batsmen, his footwork is good. Now, it might be to get to the pitch there and keep his bat away from the ball. Might be playing back or across, but his footwork, I think, is outstanding. Sometimes he plays the ball off the pitch. He's not quite sure which way it's spinning. But his feet are certainly not static. And during the summer, we've talked about some batsmen whose footwork is pretty ordinary and has got them into trouble. Ashwell Prince's footwork gets him out of trouble.
Not a big shout from an Australian point of view. Particularly Shane Warne at first slip was very late in appealing. No shot offered though. So the batsman can be given out. The ball hits him outside the line of the off stump. It just has to be spinning back enough in the umpire's opinion to hit the stumps, and that certainly didn't look like that was the case. Not coming back enough, that one.
Oh, nicely bowled, Stu.
There's another aspect of Ashwell Prince's footwork, picking up a single. Now that's the one to which he padded up, and that was why it was such a muted appeal, because it wasn't going to get anywhere near the stumps. When we're talking about footwork, it can be defensive footwork, or it can be something that takes you to the pitch of the ball and allows you to play a good firm shot. But Prince is always doing something with his feet.
Oh, I think that last one you talked about, Richie, is a good illustration of how he's improved in this match. What he has done in this match is hit a lot more singles off the leg spinners. I thought in Melbourne and in Perth and early in his career, he's had trouble with Shane Warne. He's been bogged down too much. He's faced too many deliveries in a row, and particularly Shane Warne. What he's done in this innings, he's got himself off strike a lot more, picked up those singles.
Oh.
Nicely played, but it doesn't beat mid-on. Thought for a moment that might have been his 100. That was well saved from Mike Hussey. 3 for 280. Drinks have been taken here at the SCG, the second morning. The third three-mobile test match. South Africa are 3 for 280. Now, they started the day's play at 3 for 230. So 50 runs in 100 minutes off 23 overs we've had today. So it's been hard going, but the good news is they've got two batsmen in the 90s. Callis on 98 and Ashwell Prince on 90. Shane Moore's done a bit of bowling, not a lot. And, what Ashwell Prince and Callis in particular have done is they've kept the leg spinners at bay, which I'm sure will annoy Richie Benoth. 10 overs, none for 30 for Warne, and 19 overs for 71 for McGill.
McGill has been the more expensive of the two, but it's been a slightly strange morning where we might have thought there would be all-out attack come. It hasn't been quite so. I think the dressing room has said consolidation before all else. Go out there and bat and don't get out under any circumstances.
Callis is on 98. Chance to bring up his 23rd test match 100. That's that strike rate figure we've been talking about, 38. Current run rate for South Africa is just under 2.9, which is, well, it's not great, but it's not too bad. If they could keep it around 3 runs per over from here on in, they've been in a good position by stumps on day 2. Two men out for Jacques Callis on that pull shot. It's a shot he plays very well. Quite interesting to note that the men who are out, there's a regulation fine leg, but the other man who's out is almost a deep mid-wicket. He really is there for a pull shot rather than a hook. He's looking for almost something out of the middle of the bat to get there. Normally you'd expect the man to be much squarer than that, more in that area there. You see there, he's stationed in front of the lady members stand, so he's a long way in front of square leg and really is there for something out of the middle of the bat. Normally you'd put 2 men out looking for more of a top edge. In that case, you'd have him a lot squarer than that position, more round in that position. It's nicely bowled and through, and that will annoy McGrath. Moves on to 99, but McGrath was working on a plan there. A couple of good short ones, and he fired that one at the stumps. He'd be annoyed with Stuart McGill for letting through a single.
I think he'd be infuriated. That'd be closer to it, because it was just a little push out there and McGill went out of one hand. Yes, I think infuriated.
Ashwell Prince, 200s in Test cricket, 150, and this is his 50 Test match cricket at the moment. 90 not out. So a chance to make it 3 from 3. 3 50s turned into 300s. Ooh, a swing and a miss. 3 for 281. sorts of conversations at the moment. Two umpires having a chat with the Australian captain. Now, I'm not really sure if that's related to the last ball of the last over. A big swing and a miss from Ashwell Prince from Glenn McGrath last over. No appeal. Then McGrath turned around quickly to look at the umpire. There may have been a noise or something, but now got the captain of the Australian cricket team talking to both umpires. There's no edge there. McGrath did turn around. Just had a look. I've got absolutely no idea what that's all about, Richie, to be totally honest with you. There was certainly no noise.
There seemed to be a rather odd movement of the ball as it passed the bat. But that's all I can tell you. But instantly, umpire Bowden was up to Alim Dar.
Well, the bottom line is that Jacques Kallis is on strike. He's on 99. He does have a 99 against Australia. Run out by Damien Martin. And that will do it. Places that beautifully. A lovely way to bring up the highest score against Australia and your 23rd Test match 100.
It's been a good partnership and a good innings from Jacques Kallis. When last he played on this ground, it was in the rest of the world matches, and he looked right out of sorts. He's taken his time with this innings. 261 balls for 103, but they've built a good partnership.
Jacques Kallis obviously takes care of himself on New Year's Eve, I reckon. He now has 5 Test match 100 in this game, and the other 4 are played in Cape Town, which South Africa do in their summer corresponding Test match. Now he's got one here at the SCG. 5 Test match 100s to bring in the new year. He's got 11 hundreds outside South Africa. As I said earlier, this is his 23rd Test match 100, and now his highest score against Australia. Up in the air, but safe enough. I don't think it was out of the middle of the bat by any means from Jacques Kallis. Brett Lee will keep it to, well, 2 only. I feel that may have been off the toe of the bat. It looked like it was short enough to pull. I think when it was first hit by Jacques Kallis, his heart may have been in his mouth.
There's definitely a miscue.
He's had an outstanding last, well, about 2.5 years in Test match cricket with Jacques Kallis. Averages around about 70 since about October of 2002. It's 3 for 287. For 287. Well, the chat's going on. This time it's McGrath with Ponting. I don't think Stuart McGill's involved. All seems light-hearted enough. There doesn't seem to be too much finger waving or shaking of the head. It seems all pleasant enough at this stage.
Well, if that's all it was, it's wasted a lot of time. The captain's still talking to his bowler. They've got off the Billy Bowden bit now and onto how they might get a wicket. It's going to be Ashwell Prince. He's on 90 at the moment.
As I mentioned, he's had an outstanding last 3 or 4 years. One innings in this year, obviously for 105 runs, but 4 before that, averaged 72, 80, 49.8 and 64. And said, as I said, since about October of 2002, he's actually averaged about 76. Career average of 57. That's more than useful. That's nicely played and placed. It's a shot that's he's now started to play a lot more. It's also well done. Mike Hussey saved a run there. That was a beautiful shot. It actually swung away a bit from Ashwell Prince. He used his hands nicely on that occasion.
It was a lovely shot, and look at the footwork there as well. Getting himself with a nice stride down, and free swing of the bat.
Goes for it and also places that well. He places it right between the two men in the deep. Nicely controlled. There's also now a record for the 4th wicket for South Africa against Australia.
Rolled his wrist nicely on that. It was never in danger of going in the air to either of the two players, and the placement was good.
Partnership now is 208 runs between these two. 3 for 86. South Africa are in trouble. Now 3 for 294 and going well. McGrath around the wicket. We've had good test match crowds for this series. It's been a keenly fought series. It is quite warm out in the middle. Well, it's a good way of keeping the sun off, blood. I reckon it might be a bit warm underneath those helmets. That's a better option, I reckon.
Waiting.
Little Mexican touch. I suppose you could say that the melons are pretty much an Australian invention. They serve a double purpose as well. Keep the sun off, and then as the melon itself melts inside, it keeps you cool.
It's 3 for 294. to Jacques Callison, 93 to Ashwell Prince. Really is starting to play well, Ashwell Prince. That drive in the last over is a shot we haven't seen much from him, probably throughout his career. With his unusual grip, he does find driving, particularly through the offside, a lot more difficult.
Oh!
Really has what I call a bottom hand grip. He's talked about how his hands are spread, which means he becomes a much more bottom hand player. Likes to play square of the wicket.
Oh, yes.
A bit of frustration there from McGill.
Almost 4 overthrows. Wouldn't have pleased him very much, although it might have made Ashwell Prince a happy man.
He's got that one through, and he's timed it well enough. So he moves to 97 just. He's looking to get after McGill. You can sense that 100 is not far away.
Ashwell Prince is just about nerveless. He's had all sorts of things happen to him with different deliveries out there. There was the throw from McGill, the ball before. Yet the next ball, he's danced down the pitch and placed it beautifully just to the right hand of the fielder. He's not deterred by anything.
Goes again.
Good work, tough.
He's looking at this over, is Ashwell Prince. 97 at the moment, 11 boundaries in his 97. And what a prize scalp it would be for the left-hander. 139 against Zimbabwe is his highest score. There's 100 against the West Indies as well.
Oh.
It's nicely bowled. Well, they're going for a leg by. Now, did he play a shot at that ball? Aleem Dar said yes. 3 for 299. Jacques Callis has got his 100. Ashwell Prince is on 97 and on strike. In strike in the commentary box now will be Mark Nicholas and Tony Gregg.
Thanks very much, and boy, what an occasion. This will be Prince on strike and confronting Glenn McGrath around the wicket, angling into him. He got 2 centuries last year. And that was straight to the fieldsman. .139 against Zimbabwe and 131 against the West Indies so far in his career. But he'd never had a fight like this one. A great moment for Ashwell Prince, 97 at the moment. 11 fours in this knock. And he's not in any hurry.
Whether or not he goes on to make 100, this has been a superb performance and an important performance in so many ways. This is a statement. It's a great thing the selectors have stuck with him. It's a great thing that he's responded in the way that he has. It shows that consistency of selection can really enhance the self-belief in a player and lead to performances like this.
Yes, apparently he sought out the advice of Jonty Rhodes in respect of these conditions here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Just had a little chat to him about how he should go about his business. Jonty Rhodes, of course, played that very important innings in the lead up to the victory South Africa had here a little while back. De Villiers bowled so well. He made some runs in the second innings to get them a slim opportunity, which they took with both hands and won the match.
Well, Jonty will have spoken to him about playing spin bowling here, but of course he hasn't had quite the dart of spin he might have expected. When Warne and McGill have been on, though, he's cashed in with more boundaries against them than against the seamers. And that more positive approach against the leg spinners has served him really well.
Yeah, Shane Warne was a bit worried about the news that there was going to be some grass at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, some extra grass on the pitch, when we heard there that the groundsman said something along the lines, yeah, you know, I need 2 spinners here. Well, this pitch certainly looked very green by comparison with what we've seen over the years on day 1 of the test match. Watchfully played, and a maiden, 3 for 299. Callis on 109, Prince on 97. The partnership has gone past 200, 213 now, and that's a record for this wicket for South Africa against Australia. It just gives you some idea of the fight back that they've been involved in here. Superb innings by Callis, and backed up brilliantly by Prince. Right, McGill, 21 overs, no wicket for 81. Warne at the other end's only bowled 10. It's quite interesting in itself. I want that man on the boundary at mid-wicket just a little squarer. McGill has got him where he wants him. He's now just moved it on just a little wider. And here we go again. Callis takes his single, and Prince scampers down the other end. Right, Prince will get his chance again. That brings up the 300 for South Africa.
There will be a lot of people back in South Africa with their hearts in their mouths here. And not because of that figure, but because of the figure of 97 below it that belongs to Ashwell Prince. What a thing this would be. What a performance to have a record partnership under your belt anyway, when you think of the people who have batted at 3, 4, 5 for South Africa, to do it here at the Sydney Cricket Ground against this attack. Now.
And down the wicket he goes. He's found the gap as well, but I think it'll only be 2. That'll get him to 99. Yes, he'll settle for 2. So this youngster who played in the Nuffield week for Eastern Province back in 93-94 and was the Western Province Player of the Year in 2001. Educated at St Thomas Senior Secondary School and then went on to the University of Port Elizabeth. He's on 99. Boy, that was a tempter. tossed it up outside off stump. Come and get me. But he wouldn't go. He's going to wait for a single. They'll be looking to save the single at mid-wicket and at extra cover. Just coming in an extra yard or two, the fieldsman. That's the last thing we want here is a run out.
How clever too of McGill to get 2 wrong-uns in to see if Prince wants to go chasing the ball, get the ball spinning away from him. Makes it harder for him to control the stroke. But it's good stuff.
Oh, well, Stewie.
That's the wrong-un.
This is the last ball of another one. Down the wicket he goes. Yes, he's running. There's a shot at the stumps. He's home. That is a magnificent century. Well played, Ashwell Prince. 3rd Test century. He's fought it every bit of the way, and every one of his mates is out on that balcony. A pat on the back from the Aussies as well. Great innings.
Well, he sends a man at the defining moment of his career. There's joy there, there's relief there, and he knows that from this point he can kick on, because to achieve this against Australia at the Sydney Cricket Ground and a strong Australian side with certainly 4 of the finest bowlers imaginable, it really is an achievement. There's been fine running between the wickets, clever placement, some wonderful strokes as he's got into his stride, particularly through the covers. And in the end, a very strong character has won the day.
Well, that was just absolutely outstanding. That little last bit there as he took off. Well, it was a short single, and they were all in looking to save the one. Oh yes. Right, now he's got to gather himself and make sure nothing goes wrong from here. Partnership 217. 3 for 303, and Warne is into the attack, so there's no letting up here. Here's Callis and Prince joined each other at 17 minutes past 3 yesterday afternoon.
Go.
That's a shot he has played pretty well. He's been looking for that shot a lot more. Take the ball off the stumps, use the spin and just a little bit of pace on the ball to run it away behind square, and that's got him down the other end, relieved the pressure for him a lot in this innings.
And it was mighty difficult when they did come together yesterday afternoon. The ball was nipping around off the seam. There was swing as well. 3 were down, and having won the toss, there was a real danger that South Africa would give away the advantage of doing so.
Having a look at the non-striker, I can't believe for a second he was worried about him being out of his ground.
Yep. Let's go.
Something put Warne off. Ah, look. Ashwell Prince does a bit of gardening. He clears some debris away from the popping crease area, and it obviously caught Warne's eye.
Perhaps Warne thought he was going to try and trip him up. Just the bat just crept in there.
Oh.
He's probably got his mind on other things. He just made a great century. And Warne's running into bowl. Just watch his bat here as he moves in towards the stumps, puts his bat out there. Warne sees it out the side of his corner of his eye and wonders what he's doing. And a little apology there from Ashwell Prince. Sorry about that.
Oh, nice, Shane.
There were times in Perth where he might have tried to trip him up, I think. He's learned so much. He's found a way. It mightn't always be pretty. It's mighty effective. And it really is a reflection of his character. It's hard to speak highly enough of this innings. And a partnership of 219 by this pair. That should be spoken of highly too.
Allowing the ball to come to him. 3 for 305. Callis 111, Ashwell Prince 101. Great partnership. And oh, the guy that's been doing things just lately with bat and ball, Andrew Simons. He's bowled 16 overs, no wicket for 49. Has just been given the ball. Callis, some lovely shots. He's got every shot in the book. There's absolutely no doubt about that. This is on his way to his 23rd Test century. That one just wide of Shane Warne, but looking to get onto the short delivery as well. Doesn't mind hitting the ball over the top. This is his first score in a Test match, first 100 in a Test match in 2006. Second versus Australia, made 101 at the MCG in 77. Sorry, in 97-98. That's in the air. This is going to be out. McGrath's underneath it. He does not drop catches. Well, Simons is turning it on for Australia. He's the go-to man here, and the wonderful partnership between Callis and Prince has come to an end. On 219, a shortish delivery, he went after it, got underneath it, it was in the air for a long time, and McGrath made no mistake.
Well, Callis's disbelief as he wandered up to the other end of the pitch was evident, keeping an eye on him. He simply couldn't believe he'd hit it down McGrath's throat. He had everywhere to hit it, and I reckon he was trying to hit it a lot squarer than down to long leg. He's gone for 111. It's 4 for 305.
Well, the Sydney Cricket Ground have just witnessed a fantastic partnership. 219 between Callis and Prince. Jacques Rudolph is the new man. He's been waiting for a while to get his chance to show what he's made of out there today. But boy, sitting back in that dressing room. Jacques Callis will be very disappointed with the shot he played. He does play that pull shot very well. He, in fact, plays almost every shot in the book very well. But he's got the feeling, just a little lack of concentration here.
I can't help but think he was trying to hit that in front of square. He's played a lot of those pull strokes where he lifts up his left leg, but he normally rolls his wrists and looks to hit them down. It's almost a flick of the wrists over the ball. But there he was helping it on its way, and he picked out McGrath. I mean, it's a gimme, really. I mean, credit to Simons, but it is a gimme given the situation. Simons has got a bit of magic about his cricket at the moment. We saw that in Melbourne, and good idea of Ponting to turn to Simons.
Absolutely. The sort of thing that you need to do with a guy like Simons is to give him a little bit of a spell quite often. When a guy's hot, go to him, especially in these conditions. Yes, this I've got to say, I mean, this does surprise me a bit, because he's the guy that you really credit in the side with the confidence and the ability, certainly the concentration to go on and turn 100 into 150. But you can see, he saw that going up in the air, and Glenn McGrath doesn't drop these, no trouble at all. And there's the reaction.
When he followed the ball as he ran up the pitch, he was disbelieving. It's 4 for 305.
Four for 305. Rudolph has just arrived at the crease. Still a bit of batting there. Rudolph obviously can bat a bit. Boucher and Pollock have made some runs together in this series already, so there's a bit to come still. They're 305 with 4 down here, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on in. What they've got to do, the South Africans, have got to keep that run rate up around about 3 and over. Kick on to about 400, and then it's up to their bowlers, really, and that's going to be the hard part, to knock the Aussies over.
Yeah, I think that's dead right. The 400 is a holy grail for them, because it really is a position from which they will feel they can control the game. It also means that Australia have got to get everything right to stay in the game. And the way things have gone, a few things have gone South Africa's way so far in this match that hadn't done so previously.
Yes, the really impressive aspect of what's happened so far is the way that the South Africans have handled this very good attack. I mean, McGrath and Lee, followed by Warne and McGill, those 4 in particular, the frontline bowlers, have been handled so far in this test match.
Yeah, I mean, that's spot on. You think back to the kind of middle order South Africa had in those sort of glory days of the middle and late 60s, and then in the middle 90s. And the fact that against this Australian attack in Australia, they've set a record for the 4th wicket. It's a fantastic performance.
Warne continues to nag away. Hasn't bowled all that much. This is only his 12th over. Bowled all those overs in the Melbourne Test, nudging up towards 80. So maybe he's just a little weary, but still homing in just outside that off stump. 4 for 306. So 4 for 306. Another little discussion taking place. Ricky Ponting having a chat to Andrew Simons. Andrew Simons, don't worry mate, just leave it to me, I'll sort this out. He's having a wonderful time, he really is, smashing it around. He's gone from being one of the players on this side that is about to get kicked out to turning it on with the bat, getting wickets, and the pressure's now right off him. Here he goes. This was yesterday. Callis pulling him away. It's the sort of shot that Mark Nicholas was talking about. This is again yesterday, keeping it down and beating the fieldsman on the onside, and then this one getting right underneath it. A slight difference there, wasn't there? McGrath was there. Well, that's the one there that got him out. It's the shortest of all of them. He had all day to play it. There's concentration, a very important part of batting, especially when you start to get a little tired. Been there for a while. Well, that's nicely played again. There's some runs coming in that area. Just behind square and just in front of square. Well, Simon O'Donnell's going to give us something interesting at the cricket show. Let's hear what it's going to be.
Cricket show coming your way today, Tony, from out the back of the SCG member stands. Not a lot of people here at the moment, but it'll be packed shortly, and I'll make my way out. But on the show, Tubby and Heels answering your emails a little earlier in the summer. A match for the David Hooks Foundation over at Tanunda in South Australia. We'll take a look at that as well. So plenty to come on the cricket show. Lunchtime. See you then.
Well, there we are. Plenty to look forward to. Oh, and an edge, but it went down. Well, I suppose it's understandable that the pitch that moved around all over the place off the seam starts to die a little bit. That was bowled upright, mind you. Plenty of angle on the bat. Never went anywhere near Shane Warne. That's another aspect that South Africa are going to have to hope improves when they get their chance. Their catching has been atrocious. And when eventually they get out there, the bowlers will be hoping that they can get it in the right place. But having done that, they then got to hope that their fielders catch it.
We chatted with Big Vincent van der Bijl, who's the new general manager for high performance cricket in South Africa, just in Melbourne, and he said it was a case of almost trying too hard. Relax a bit and he'll catch him. It's 4 for 309.
Well, that's the run rate, 2.39, below what we've been used to in Test cricket in recent years. Mind you, that applies to the Australians as well. Been a little different since Adam Gilchrist's not been smashing them around. So this is going to be a challenge for the Australians when they get their chance. Meanwhile, it's Warne nagging away. Rudolph having to try and get himself used to what's happening out there. Always a chance when you lose a wicket that you lose 3 or 4.
Warne's trying to hurry Rudolph here and trying to get another over in before lunch. So all of a sudden he's bowled 2 balls off a 2-pace run. Now, just to change the rhythm, he's going back to his usual run. He wants to unsettle the new batsman.
Yes, he's always up to something. Of that, there is no doubt. I'd stop him. I'd stand there and back away. No way in the world they should be allowing him to bowl another over, or Australia to bowl another over here.
It's time to wander down the pitch now, isn't it? Pat away and clear debris that isn't really there, and generally hang on.
Absolutely.
Oh! Nice, Shane. Good work.
That's a good over. It's 4 for 309. Simons continuing. Just a reminder that there are plenty of tickets still available at the gate for today's play, so plenty of tickets available if you want to pop down today. It's a lovely day and a lovely atmosphere here, and of course tomorrow is Family Day, and any child under the age of 16 who's accompanied by an adult, that adult needs to be holding a fully paid ticket, will be allowed into the ground free. So if you're under 16 and you come along with an adult who's got a ticket, well, you'll get in free. The tickets are the details on that offer for Family Day are available through your local ticket agency. Simons 1 for 53, bowling the last over now before the lunch break on day 2 of the test match. Just trying to get the ball to move around a little bit. It's actually settled down this pitch nicely.
It's played really well today. It hasn't really moved sideways, which has been the big advantage for the batsman. The bounce has been more consistent too, and it's just a batting day. It's a wonderful clear sky. Yesterday we had this low dense cloud. It was quite gloomy. It had been drizzling all morning. This is a batting day, and South Africa have made it count this morning. Two special moments for two cricketers who will be proud of their partnership. 219 they've put on. Harris went to his 100 playing the cut stroke. He's made a small matter of 23 of those. Not so many test match hundreds for Ashwell Prince. He will have enjoyed watching Jacques Cullis go to his.
Straight to wide mid-wicket, and there it is, the call for lunch, with South Africa on 4 down for 310, and their run rate 2.84 at the moment, and there it is, 109 overs have been bowled. Right, well, a very satisfied Ashwell Prince on 102 not out. He'll enjoy his lunch, that's for sure. Rudolph's got a long way to go yet, and so have the South Africans. And we'll be back just after the break with Simon O'Donnell in the Cricket Show.
Yeah, thanks, Gav. G'day everyone and welcome to the Cricket Show. On today's show, Tubby and Heels answering your emails a little later on. But first, with the tragic death of David Hookes in 2004, the David Hookes Foundation was formed. Now, an annual initiative of the foundation is a match between Old Australia and Old Rest of the World. Now, that match takes place at Chateau Tanunda in South Australia. Now, we're going to have a look at what transpired on the day and also just take note of what a special 12 months it's been for one particular gentleman. Have a look at this, Chateau Tanunda, South Australia.
A year ago, Nick Harris was playing another game, the waiting game. In desperate need of a new kidney, Nick competed in the inaugural David Hookes Foundation match while still on dialysis. Cricket, his only good medicine in a world of ill health.
It's frustrating, you know, you want to get on with your life, you're in the prime of your life, in your early 30s, and it's time to move on and do that sort of stuff, and yet you sit there and you've still got to turn up, you know, 20 hours a week out of your life on a dialysis machine.
And you're going to be the opposition.
A year on, Nick Harris is back in the Barossa, this time as an organ recipient, a walking advertisement for the brilliant work of transplant teams and organisations like the David Hookes Foundation.
What a difference 12 months can make, how your life has changed forever.
No, it's just been fantastic just to come from 3 years of dialysis to 7 months of great health and now to top it off to come here and play again for the David Hookes Foundation.
Bit nervous about playing with your heroes?
Oh, absolutely. I suppose wicket-keeping as well. You're even more nervous because we don't have another keeper in the side to back me up anyway. So it's going to be great.
This field of dreams is the brainchild of the Chateau Tanunda owner, John Geber. He built the ground and they have come. This year's team's boasting 16 test players, including 4 international captains. Among them, the skipper of the world side, Kepler Wessels.
We'll have a bad thanks, Mikey. For hold on, kid. As long as possible. Good luck.
Mikey, we've got what we probably want. We want to get the fielding out of the way quick. And so we're fielding first so we can have the Shiraz last.
These guys might want to have a Shiraz early. That may help your team.
Yes, that's possibly right. But the Premier, I think, is batting first, so we're going to target him first up.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, well, I don't come from here, so it doesn't matter.
We were here last year, and by your own admission, you're the only person to be thrown out of the parliamentary cricket side. We saw that here. Are you any better?
I've been practicing. Look, I had to practice. I got the message, in fact, international message, because she must be broadcast around the world. So I went to India with Darren Lehman. He said, you've got to lift your game.
From the hit and hope of the Premier to the silken grace of Carl Hooper, these matches are a melting pot of talents and technique, and a great chance to check on the form of our Channel 9 commentary team.
Do you think there might be a little bit of chirping from behind the stumps or other
What, from
places?
Healy?
Maybe.
I'm looking forward to every word because it'll come back at him in spades.
Oh, get on with it, Pommy. It's Chris Taveray, isn't it?
With Hooper gone, our cricket host broke open the shackles, ending his innings with a flurry of stylish boundaries before retiring.
Unbeaten against Australia, what more do you want?
Exactly. Where's the respect? Where's the respect?
It's fair to say some players have weathered the passing years better than others.
Go away. Go away.
The body and style of Kepler are both still intact. This a rare return to one of his 2 test homes.
Well, you're captaining this side, Kepler, and they put some runs on the board.
Yes, they did. I don't know if it's quite enough. It's a very small ground, and the Australian side got a pretty good batting lineup, so we'll have to wait and see.
From the moment Michael Slater walked to the crease, the Australian 11 made easy work of the run chase.
like you never left.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Did you enjoy it coming off the bat
I
again?
really did, and I love the fact that it's such a small ground, but a half hit can go for 6, so it makes you feel good. But it's been a superb day.
Behind the stumps, Nick had the best seat in the house, as some of Australia's most precious vineyards came under heavy fire. First from former Australian quick Brendan Julian, before Heels set about bruising some grapes. But this match isn't about runs, wickets, or even who wins. It's about transforming tragedy into a positive and widespread message.
There's just a strong presence of David for me anyway, because of all the guys that he's played with, and that they would just come and play and be part of it, and want to encourage and look at that whole aspect of organ donation.
I like to sort of explain the experience of getting a transplant like as a ripple effect, and quite often people will think it just benefits the recipient, but it goes beyond that. Like, it goes to my immediate family and my mother and my brother, and then it goes beyond that to extended family like uncles, aunties, grandparents.
To talk to Nick and David and to those guys who've got their new organs, what it means to them, and so you understand the process, the whole circle of life that we're involved with here, and that's what it's all about.
These days, Nick has his life and his freedom back. And for the first time in years, he's looking forward to the future.
It's like you're sort of set on this vision. You're just looking sort of down this narrow tunnel, just like looking for the transplant at the end of it. And now all of a sudden it's just like your vision is just widened. And you know, you're starting to plan ahead and get on with all the other things that all 32-year-old males are doing. You know, looking to get back into work. Look for the house. Do all the classic things that everybody does when you're 32.
That's what this day is all about, and I don't think the awareness is getting out there just yet, even though there's been so much work done on organ donation. So yeah, make sure you tick that box and talk to your kids about donating those organs.
Yeah, great day had by all there at Chateau Tanunda for the David Hooks Foundation. To find out more about the David Hooks Foundation, to register as an organ donor, go to www.davidhooksfoundation.com.au or phone the Australian Organ Donor Register 1800 777 203. A very worthy cause there, I might add. And also I may add that Organ Donor Week is mid-February, so even more information there. Organ Donor Week and the David Hooks Foundation. Time for our first break on the Cricket Show. As we go to the break, let's have a look at the tool of trade of Justin Langer.
Oh, good shot. And again.
Crash. Righto, Justin Langer, Kookaburra player. What type of Kookaburra you got?
This is called the Absolute Belter. And it's quite funny, because I used to go into Kookaburra to Rob Elliott and the boys in there and say, mate, this is an absolute belter. And then they decide to name it that after.
Yeah, well, what do you like about it? The edges, it's a new shape and thick edges.
Yeah, look, a lot of people talk about the edges these days, Heels, but to me it's more the ping off the bat, how it comes off the bat. There's a lot of talk about the thick edges, but to me it's not as important as, one, the grain and how it picks up, and most importantly, how it actually comes off the bat.
You've got a lot of grains in the face of that one. Is that what you like? Sometimes it's like 6 or 8 grains, but you'd have a dozen there.
Yeah, I like to do this. I also like to try and get these little imperfections in the wood, these butterflies. I really like to have them somewhere in the face. It doesn't happen all the time, but I know it's a bit of a superstition for me, I suppose. If I can get one of those butterflies somewhere in the face of the bat, I usually feel pretty confident with it.
A lot of parents would steer clear of that in a retail sense, but do you think it's a strengthening of the wood?
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you say, if a parent sees that, they go, oh, or even kids see it, oh, it doesn't look so. But for me, I think it is. It gives it a real hard spot in the bat, and yeah, I think it strengthens up different areas of the wood for sure.
Another thin handle. Michael Clark was the same. You like the thinner handle?
Yeah, I've always, I always marvelled at David Boone and those guys who have the thick handles. Even Darren Lehman, they have nice thick handles. But for me, I've got quite small hands, and it just feels nice. In fact, if you ask me what's the most important about my cricket bat, it's how my handle feels in my hand. It's weird, but being a batting nuffy as I am, that's just the thing. You know, I always putting tape all over it. You know, different parts of in here just to try and get the different feel for it. And down the bottom here, there's always tape. I'm always messing around just so that you can see here. So I've got tape. I always taping all over the place just so I get a, you know, when I pick it up, it's just got literally got a nice feel.
You might know, therefore, what weight you like. You just like feel, or do you know how heavy your bats weigh?
Yeah, look, I've gone from when we were playing together heels to at about £2.5 or 6. But I used to get ribbed a lot by my teammates having such small bats. So now I usually use about 2.9 up, maybe 2.9, 2.9 and a half. I'm pretty specific with it.
How many bats would you carry at one time?
Probably 4 or 5. And like I say, I'm a bat nuffy. I mean, there's a few of us. Ricky Ponting, absolute bat nuffy. Adam Gilchrist, the other side, he could walk out with anything and not know the difference like we think. But yeah, usually 4 or 5, always looking for that ultimate bat.
Century, well played, Ashwell Prince. 3rd Test century, he's fought it every bit of the way, and every one of his mates is out on that balcony.